We did a lot.
Where do I even start? Yeah. So today's been kind of a marathon day. It is currently Saturday, May 30th.
I had to atone for my sins of missing yesterday.
We have crushed it today. So I don't know if you saw the last video, but probably not. I don't think anybody
Go back and
watched
watch
it.
it.
If anybody watched it, they will know that in the last video we were working on the special investigation that's going to happen after season 1 and before season 2 of Strange Trails. We earlier today finished planning that out and then went on a little walk, and now here we are working on stuff for season 6, back on track, back on the originally scheduled season that we were actually intending to do.
Regularly scheduled programming.
Exactly, our regularly scheduled season. And we came in with 6 questions to work on today. I usually try to break it down by questions per day so that I can kind of keep track of things and know what we need to focus on each day rather than just jumping around and sort of hoping that we come up with things to do.
It really helps the focus, I feel like.
I think so too, especially when you have the questions and they are also allocated to specific episodes, so you know which point in the season the question is referring to as well. So we had 6 questions today, a bunch of different episodes throughout the season, and I mean, you'll see the board is quite full right now. We were able to get through all of them, and we answered them like actually really quickly. It was like less than 2 hours just to get through those, and I kind of thought that they were going to take a while because it was a lot of questions that sometimes you have a question that is like you've already kind of answered most of the stuff on it, and you're just kind of filling out the rest of the scene. And then other times it's like a question where it's like actually all new information that you have to come up with at that moment. And it felt like a lot of these questions were that second type of question, but
They ended up being a lot more chill.
yeah, we were able to kind of just pull things together. It's also possible, though, that since we've had so much time in between, that stuff's just sort of been like cooking, you know? And so it's kind of like when you take a break, you can kind of come back and be more.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments where like we would like, throw an idea out and you're like, oh, that actually works because of XYZ and all these other things, and it just like aligned.
Sometimes it just works, and it really did feel like that today. So I think
the harder thing we did was coming up with a lot of names for things and people. And
I don't know, I'm feeling really good about where we're at, and I think assuming each of the questions today equates to a scene that needed to be done, I don't know if it does directly or not. We had 22 scenes left to do for season 6 for me to feel like, hey, this is like ready to go. I'm ready to start writing this thing. If each of those lines up with what we did today, then we're down to like just 16 more scenes left to go potentially. And that leaves us like, to me, once I get down to single digits on the scenes left, it's a little easier to start justifying like, maybe this episode doesn't actually need this many scenes, like I can just cut one. So if I'm down to like 7 scenes left to go and all the little pink borders that have been indicating like, hey, this needs more, if those are taken care of, I'm kind of okay with just sort of cutting it off there. So we're getting past like the heavy lifting part. Like we're past the point where I was like afraid that the season might not come together. Like the story might be kind of a challenge or too much of a challenge almost.
I just wanted to be known that early on I was like, why didn't you just like believe that it's gonna work because it has worked every time before? And he was like, I can't because then it might not work out. And I was like, okay, we were just talking about artists and their belief in manifestation, and some of those, like Michael Jackson, he did a lot of manifesting and
there it is.
Made a lot of his dreams come true.
Well, what's also funny is we just did the special investigation, which I came up with like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to do a special investigation. And then we kind of like put that together really quickly too. Like the fact that that came together as quickly as it did was like.
And it's like an interesting story that's like very separate from everything else.
Yeah, it was something that I was afraid of going into, where I was like, is this going to work in the timeline? Is this going to make sense as something that is standalone and like does feel like it deserves to exist as its own thing, or is it going to be like too I'm going to have to do too much work to connect it to other stuff or whatever. And I think it just sort of slotted right in. So that actually is like really impressive to me.
I think I just feel that the same way that you to me were like, you're always going to be able to, like, you'll always come up with more stuff. Like, don't feel anxious that, like, you're using all your best ideas. I feel like that same confidence could be applied to your stories
It's
are
gonna come
crazy
together.
complicated. It is going to come together because that's the way your brain works.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like you don't even, I think sometimes you don't even realize what you're seeding, and then later it's like, oh, it's just like,
A lot of the times that is genuinely what happens is I will just be like, oh, it'd be cool to have like something like this happen somewhere in the season. And then it's just sort of sitting there, and there's stuff like there was something earlier today that we were talking about that was just sort of had been sitting in the background, and then we found the spot where it makes sense to kind of pull from it, and now it is part of the thing, the thing at the okay.
I was gonna say, well, I don't. You can cut this but
Yeah.
did you say anything about how like the idea for the special investigation came from? Like, what if I did like a holiday episode?
Yeah, that was at the,
Okay,
yeah,
because I thought that was so fun that it turned into something very different. But like,
it was meant to be a holiday episode originally, but
Yeah.
yeah, then my friend was talking about it, and he was like, why would they do like a Christmas special? Which is fair. That's a fair question, because that's really not the vibe of this show.
but
yeah.
also other shows. I don't know. I've watched a few shows from Sci-Fi, and like but I just love that both Eureka and Warehouse 13, and they're similar kind of shows. And in both of them, there's one. I think there's actually more than one Christmas episode in Eureka too. But it's like a one-off episode. It's separate from the story, and yeah, I don't know. But it's just like you sometimes get they touch on Christmas somewhere in the show. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I just think it's a fun thing.
To have like a side quest,
Yeah, a side quest.
and that's
And in those situations, oftentimes that story doesn't carry as much weight as whatever's happening in the real show. But in this one, I feel like you've made it equally as
I think it
interesting
carries weight,
and-
and I think it has downstream effects in the show. Like there are things that happen in the special that will affect the show going forward.
yeah, pay attention.
Yes. So I'm feeling like we did what we came to do. That's what I feel like right now. So I think we're gonna go on a walk again because it's still really nice out,
And we have to walk.
and we have to walk because we walked here. So we're gonna go on another walk.
A walk.
So I'll see you when I make another clip. All right, here we are. It is Wednesday, June 3rd. I actually just finished hanging out with Jocelyn a little bit earlier today. We tend to, whenever we do sessions at her apartment, we just get so into it that we don't take any time to make a clip afterwards. So here I am on campus, sort of going through everything that we came up with. I've got our index cards of stuff, and I've been putting it all into the template and everything. One thing that I noticed that I got wrong was that instead of there being 22 scenes left, I don't know why I was saying 22 scenes because I had the number right originally, it was 23 scenes left. So just a small correction there. 23 scenes left out of 90 to make the season feel like there's enough going on in it, right? Where like there's enough, the episodes will be long enough to justify their existence. I don't want like 20-minute episodes. I don't think that's worth it. I want to make sure that every episode is pushing an hour. That's actually the goal here. So that's where we're at. So after I went through and took everything that we did on Saturday and I popped it into the template, we are down to 16 scenes remaining to figure out. However, there is one caveat to that. 16 scenes remain to make the season feel full, but there are 32 questions remaining to actually make the season make sense, which means we're probably going to end up having more scenes than the 90 that I kind of originally wanted, which means the season will likely be, it's already going to be so long, but it's probably going to be even longer than I originally thought it was going to be, because each of those questions tends to be about a specific scene and pulling, and occasionally I can take it and put multiple questions and get them answered in one scene. So some consolidation can happen, but I do think that there's this is going to be a long season. This is going to be a long season. But it'll be worth it. It's going to be it's going to be crazy. It's going to be so crazy. I'm so excited about it. I want to show you what the template looks like as of right now. I have already taken the index cards that Jocelyn and I made today from our stuff and put it on the thing. I haven't updated the official numbers on there, so it's still going to show 16 on the thing. But let me show you what the board looks like. Okay, so this is season 6 as of right now. The columns are still quite long, but you'll notice at the bottom of every single column, the only colors, if there is a color, because many of the episodes are completed now and no longer have an add this many scenes to it, the only colors are green or yellow, which means it's either add 1 scene or add 2 scenes, and that's it. And then that episode is ready to go. And I think after what we did today, there's a very, very high probability that about 3 more episodes are actually completed now. So the first half of the season is probably pretty much cleared out. I think we are just going to be focusing on the second half of the season from now on. Now, the column all the way to the right, that really, really, really long one, that is the questions that have already been answered. The question and the answer are both posted there. The column right beside it, that other blue column, those are the questions remaining. I think we're down to 23 now. After today, we started with 32. I believe we're down to 23. So we got through 9 questions today, which is pretty good since our session got cut short. So considering the situation, I think we did great. And yes, that's what the season looks like right now. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but there's a chance that by the time I go home next Tuesday night, season 6 is ready to go. That's tentative, very tentative, but that is like definitely a goal of mine right now, is to see if we can get season 6 ready to go by that point. And then it'll just be coming up with titles and doing like last minute, like kind of administrative stuff, like getting all the notes in order. And then I can start writing. So I do feel like we're pretty close. But yeah, I love when we have days like this where we're just like in the zone and stuff. What's unfortunate is, again, for the second time now, I updated my phone to the new iOS a couple weeks ago because I had to, because I got a new AirTag and it wouldn't connect unless I updated to the newest iOS. And I'd been putting it off because I heard battery life got worse, and it did. But now there's also this weird glitch in the voice notes thing where every time I am recording these voice notes, I have to wonder if it's actually going to save the thing at the end, because it saved it so we lost the voice memo at her place for the special investigation. And then the meeting that we did here on campus in the last clip, that one, the voice note saved. And then today, the voice note again got lost. So there's 3 hours of voice notes from today that are just, they're gone. So I'm having to hope that I wrote down enough stuff on the index cards for me to be able to make sense of everything. And I feel like I do remember the gist of what we were talking about, but I know for sure that in chatting, we said little things here and there that no one wrote down that are just, they're gone now. We just don't have them. And that's so disappointing. And so I don't know, I just don't know if I can trust the voice memos app on the phone anymore, which is really frustrating because that's been sort of like a basic thing this whole time. But it's been really helpful because having the voice memo means that I never have to worry about like forgetting what we just said. I can always go back and find out. And, so now I kind of don't have that anymore. So next time we meet up, I'm going to probably try to record through the laptop as well. Like maybe just recording on both places at the same time gives me like a backup option in case one glitches out. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm working through right now. Though, as far as places to be, there are worse places to be with this, because I did at least think to write everything down today that I knew was important. So I didn't lose things. I didn't just write, very minimal stuff and then realize after the fact that I have to kind of reconstruct the whole thing from memory. Like I kind of did it in the moment. So it's not great, but it's not as bad as it could have been. That being said, I think I'm going to head home. And then I'll be back up here tomorrow, ideally, for maybe the second last day of planning out season 6. We'll see. No promises, but I hope so. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, June 9th, and you might be about to witness you might be about to witness the final day of planning for season 6. I can't guarantee anything because obviously you don't know how fast you're going to come up with answers to things, but I do only have 12 questions left to answer. There are 5 scenes required for the season to feel full to me. And I mean, I honestly feel like I'm actually technically beyond the 90 scenes required, because there are episodes that are already completed that have gotten additional scenes added into them. So they're going to be longer than what they really need to be. So I'm thinking there's a very good possibility that I'm going beyond 90 and that I could theoretically answer the 12 questions tonight. It's 7 p.m. exactly 7 p.m. If I can take the next 4 hours and answer 3 questions an hour or something, I could do it. That could be it. That could be the end of season 6 planning. I mean, that doesn't fully complete anything because obviously I still need to come up with titles for everything, even though I do have that long list of potential titles. I've been looking at it recently. They don't seem to all fit in the way that I initially thought that they might, because the story ended up being so different from what you have as a concept of the season. I think I hit the major points, but there were certain story beats that I guess I kind of expected to come up at a certain point, and that they just didn't come up because there wasn't space for it. And believe me, there was not space for it. I put every single thing that I could fit into the season in the season because it is so densely packed. It is one of the most densely packed, intricate stories I think I've ever come up with. And this is me saying a lot of stuff when I have not written it yet, so I don't know what it'll ultimately look like. But currently, I feel like every season of Strange Tales has gotten more intricate as it has gone. There are more layers to it. There's more stuff you need to be keeping an eye on. There are more balls in the air, basically. And I always hope to have the finale, or, by the finale at the very least, have caught all the balls and, not dropped anything. So each season I feel like I'm adding another ball, and it's just getting more and more difficult to kind of keep up with it. This season, I feel like I added 6 additional balls, but it wasn't just a small step up. It just feels like it went so far beyond what any other season that I've done has been for planning purposes. And I think it's gonna be really exciting. I do think it will be very difficult to follow along and understand every single thing that's happening and why it's happening the first time through. I think this is a story that is going to require repeat viewing, repeat listening. That's just top down, broad strokes. That's my takeaway right now. Just looking at it is I can't even hold it in my head because it's so intricate, but I cannot expect an audience to be able to do that either. So I am fully aware that this season will probably be controversial just on that aspect alone. People will be I shouldn't have to listen to something multiple times to understand everything. And, to them, I say, hey, you got seasons 1 through 5, I guess. Maybe you'll have to skip 6 in that case. I do expect season 7 to be less intricate than this because I just don't see how anything is going to top this. So there's that at least. We're at the hump right now. So that is something that I have in mind. I do still have 12 additional questions that I need to figure out a nice little answer to, a satisfying answer to, and they're all finale questions. So they are in the final 2 episodes of the season. And so technically, if I really wanted to, I could start writing the season right now and, just kind of wait to come up with the answers to those questions. But I really, really don't like doing that. I would rather have everything answered and just know that the story works structurally and on a scene level before I start writing anything. Because for me, it's so difficult to edit stuff. It's so difficult because once I write something down, it kind of solidifies in my head as that's how the scene goes. So it's very I don't do a page 1 rewrite of anything. I would never just throw out everything that I've done and then rewrite it from scratch. That would not happen. If anything, I will go in and I can tweak certain lines here and there. Mostly when I'm editing though, I'm actually just adding more information. I'm adding more details in the descriptions. I'm adding extra lines of dialogue to kind of help explain things that didn't really come across as clearly as I had hoped they would. But I don't really edit the flow of a scene and change oh, this character is actually going to come in here and I'm going to add this character in now so they're also there, and then kind of work them into the scene. That has happened on maybe out of all the things that I've written, a handful of occasions, maybe 4 or 5 occasions that I've done an actual editing in that type of sense. Generally my editing is actually just adding information that I missed when I was doing when I was doing the first draft, basically. And to me, yeah, it's a first draft. I'm kind of on a tangent right now. It's a first draft in the sense that is the first time that I'm actively writing it out as like a draft, but I don't think that the stories that I write are first drafts, because I think that they're so intricately planned and things are so detailed by the time that I even get to them. And I have notes, giant notes full of information for every single episode and all the scenes in each episode, of all the little questions over the course of this planning session that I have like asked and then answered, and what the answer is. And then I put those in order that they happen in the episode. So I have like a pretty detailed outline for each episode by the time I'm actually writing the episode. So I don't really consider the episodes that I'm writing to be first drafts. I would say maybe second or possibly third drafts is where they're kind of at, as far as like, I do feel fairly confident in the story by the time that I'm putting them down. I'm actually typing them up, and then the later drafts would just be adding further detail to kind of flesh them out a little bit and make it feel a little bit more complete and, well-rounded and everything. Anyway, I don't know how I got off on that topic, but that's just where my mind went. I'm in a classroom. I'm in one of the classrooms that we used to plan most of season 6. I feel it's fitting, if this ends up being the final night for planning this season, to end it where we began. I can't use the classrooms that we originally were in because they're locked right now, because we're in like between sessions of courses or whatever. So semesters, we're in between semesters right now. So I'm here, and I hope by the time I go home tonight, season 6 is planned. If not, I would like to get at least half of the questions answered tonight. And then that would just leave 6 questions for whenever I have time next, which would be hopefully in the next couple of days. So no matter what, I am very close to finishing. It would be really nice to finish it tonight. I would always love to finish it tonight. I would love to do that. So let's try to make that happen. It's 10 p.m. exactly, and I just answered the final fucking question. Season 6 is officially planned. It is officially planned out. All of the questions that I have been asking myself this entire time, throughout this entire process, have now been answered. And I mean, that only took 3 hours today, which is crazy, because that's, it ended up being one additional question. It wasn't just the 12. I came up with one more question, which was actually pretty important, and I'm surprised I didn't think of it earlier. But I answered that too. So 13 questions answered in 3 hours. That's how today went. Sometimes you just have a really good day, and today was one of them. And I'm so excited that I was able to do this. You'll see the board. There's a lot of pink on there. I went with colors today. I was trying to be fun and festive because it was a big occasion. I wanted to pull it off, and I'm so glad that I did. I got there. Yeah, this is, I can officially say now that it's all planned out. This is going to be the most insane season of the show. This is going to be like, it's just so far beyond. Like, I think every season, again, I've kind of like talked about this a little bit, but like every season does step up the action, the drama, the intrigue, all that stuff. This just, I think it just blows everything else out of the water. Like, genuinely, I feel like this is probably the high watermark for the show right now. And maybe I'll be able to do more after this, but like this feels like I went into this season so nervous I was not going to be able to tell a story that landed the way that I wanted it to, or that was as big as I wanted it to be. I knew I wanted this to be the culmination of an arc of multiple seasons, but I wasn't sure I was going to be able to live up to that, or to come up with a story that could live up to that, you know? And so to be at this point now where it is all officially fucking planned out, I'm so excited. I'm almost ready to write. I just need to get the titles figured out. And like, yeah, it'll take a little bit of time to do, but that is not the hard part. Actually, the hard part is going to be the slog of writing 15 episodes. Actually, and then on top of that, I'm trying to write the special investigation as well. I'm trying to write 17 episodes of Strange Trails this year. That is an insane workload, and that is realistically going to take me the entire second half of the year, if not beyond that, like genuinely. And that's fine, because like, hey, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to have these episodes written. I'm so excited to like read this story once it's all actually pieced together appropriately and there's like full scenes and you get to see the characters interacting with each other. This is going to be a really cool season. This is going to be such a cool fucking season. I'm so excited for it. Yeah, I don't really have too much more to say other than I'm just glad that I got here. I'm glad that I got here. I got here within the time frame that I originally planned out. I had basically given myself until the end of June to finish planning this, and I got a little nervous about that when I decided I wanted to do the special investigation. I thought that might derail things and take me off on this like side path for too long. I think I'm still technically, because it's June 9th, it feels like, oh, well, it's really early in June, so you actually have all these extra weeks to do stuff. Not really, because I still need to also now write 2 additional, like the special investigation episodes, and I think those will probably take me right to the end of, like, I'm going to start with those. Those will probably take me right to the end of June, and then I'll start in July writing season 6 as originally planned, which is fine, because I'll still be on schedule, but it did really tighten the time frame for me by deciding I wanted to do the special investigation. And it's important for me to like do the special investigation first because there are things that are in the special investigation that may or may not come into play in season 6. So I want to make sure that I have all those details worked out before I go in and write this whole huge season and then have to figure out where to insert things after the fact. That's going to be a nightmare trying to do. So I would rather, as I was saying, plan it all out as much as possible, and doing that chronologically is going to be the thing that helps get that done the way that I wanted to without having to go back and forth a million times. Yeah, I'm feeling really proud of myself. I always feel proud of myself. I know I put a lot of work into this, so like I always feel good about things, but this, I do feel like a really big sense of accomplishment because I genuinely wasn't sure I was going to be able to get it done within the time frame that I gave myself, just given how many episodes I was trying to do and how intricate it was. It could not have been done if Jocelyn had not helped me. I, would love to have her here tonight, but she was integral to getting this done in the time frame, because just even if there were times where she wasn't able to like suggest ideas or whatever, like she just didn't have like the mental capacity that day because she was drained from doing other things all day and then came to UB at night to hang out with me and work on this stuff, she was still a person that I could talk it through with. And even just the process of like saying the ideas out loud, brainstorming out loud, changes things, and you kind of just connect things in a different way than you do if you're just kind of like saying it over and over in your head, like, and I don't really know how else to describe that, but it has been so helpful. This is the first season of Strange Trails where I have had another person available, and we are both just, we're on the same wavelength, like as far as the types of stories that we want to tell. And I think that that's awesome when we're able to just be so in sync with that, and to know that like if I throw an idea out there, she can probably, make it stronger, and if not, get it even more further integrated in a way that I would want it to be integrated. Like, and she'll come up with things all the time that are just like so different from where I would have thought things would go, but they work better than I would have expected. So I can't say thank you enough to her for helping me out with this. And now the next part of this journey is mine alone. No one can help me with this, but I do have to write it. So I think there might be a little bit more before the writing starts, because I do have to figure out the titles. I don't know if I'll film that part. I genuinely don't know, but I know this video is over because I am going to go celebrate. I don't know how I'm going to celebrate, but I'm going to celebrate. I finished planning Strange Trails season 6 at UB in this classroom. It's awesome. Okay. It's awesome. I'm feeling great. So I'll see you guys to start writing season 6 whenever I make another video.